What up, though? Gametime Audible in the building. Young EBZ in the house. The sports guru Hugh Lee over there on the other side.
Good,
What up, Hugh? What's happening?
man. Relaxing, man. Trying to enjoy this rest of this day, man. Get this show on the road, man. Got a lot of stuff and topics to talk about. What's
All
going
right,
on? Everything going?
not bad. Just sharing the live here on the Vigo streets and saying hello to all of you. Thanks for coming on through. We appreciate you as always. Like my man said, we got a lot to talk about sports wise this evening. So you know what we doing. We basically getting everybody situated, giving y'all some time to go grab a beer, grab a snack, all that good stuff. And then when we come back, we ready to get into it, y'all. Sports talk this evening, like we like to do. Of course, gotta send shout out to our people's Road to Stardom. What up, Road? Road also doing her show on the airways. Road to Stardom. Make sure you follow her. Follow her on Facebook or on the IT or the YT, the IG or YT, I should say. Shout out to you, Road. Thanks for coming through. We appreciate you. Shout out to these people here in the Vigo streets. At any rate, y'all, we're going to commercial break. When we come back, it's time to talk. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Come on now. Okay, black on. Get into it. Black on. Look at that. David Ford. Right there. That's his thing. Black on. He don't know Tom. Look at that. David Ford. That's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
All right, y'all, what's going on? We back. Game Time Audible in the building. E Beezy, Young Hugh, ready to get it in as we do every Wednesday about this town. What up, Hugh?
What's good, man? Everything smooth?
Shout out to my Bigo niece Mara me in the building. What's going on? Yeah, man. I'm ready to get it in. Big Daddy ran the house. Absolutely. Run that. But yeah, folks, here's the deal. A lot went on last week in the world of sports. Now, Hugh being Hugh, I already know. If you leave it to him, he gonna want to get into the football, and we'll end up talking football the whole time. No, Hugh. No, Hugh. No. We're not talking football the whole night, okay? You gonna
We
get
should.
you gonna get your chance. We're gonna have plenty of time to talk the football, but we gotta talk about some of these other things that went on first. First of all, Hugh, talk to us about one Ben Simmons. Tell me about that guy.
Oh yeah, Ben Simmons getting real, lippy right now, man. His feelings been hurt, man. He don't like what's been going on in the whole, Philadelphia streams, and now he want to voice his opinion and saying he won out. I feel like it was a lot of stuff going on and a lot of stirring in the pot, but now I just feel like he looks at it and like I just don't have the chemistry and I just don't have what you guys want me to have. You know, I think that's to have a little bit more moxie. I think he's a little soft and he's hurt. You know, his feelings hurt because when it came down to, they said they wanted him to focus on an off season playing and doing better on his game and working on his game. And then, Shaq and Barkley came up and had some really strong words about him too, man. And they were like, well, you're not all that good, man. And if you want to be great, you need to focus on, going and hitting the gym and doing better on, your crafts and the fundamentals and just the basics of being a better player. They said that he's arrogant. He doesn't want to do that. And he want to show off his cars. He want to show the movie stars he hanging around, and he don't really want to work on what they were telling him to work on and developing a better game. And that's what the greats do. Shaq wasn't the greatest jump shooter, but then he worked on like a little mini hook shot, his post game. He worked with Akeem Olajuwon and some of the greats, and it made him great. Because Shaq got a lot of stuff in his arsenal that people didn't give him credit for when he became a champion and started winning championships. All of the greats do that. LeBron wasn't good at shooting 3-pointers, and his jumper was okay, but it wasn't consistent. He worked on that. One guy I always criticize, Michael Conley, man, at the beginning, hear me out, E. At the beginning of his career, I said, damn, like, man, he making all that money. What has he done? And he worked on his game, and then I was like, damn, he made me eat that because not only was he a hell of a player, he became one of the top of the cream of the crop point guards. He probably wasn't the best, but you knew who he was, man, because he was one of the at least top 10 at his time. So yeah, man, I just don't feel like he's doing enough right now to work on his game.
Bro,
And
you're not looking at this right, okay? You digging in parts of it and you're not understanding certain other parts. First of all, Ben Simmons, where is he from?
he's an Aussie.
He not from here, correct?
Of course.
See, the arrogant thing about us as Americans is we tend to think that everybody else thinks like we do. And they don't. Other countries don't see things the way we see them. If we had that understanding, we might be out of Corona, for example. That's a whole nother argument. We'll have that for another day.
So you telling me you sympathize with this clown for not working on his craft? Is that what you saying, E?
What I'm saying is that may not be as important to him, is what I'm saying. He may be somewhat satisfied with his present status in life as basically a person that dates Kardashians, a person that is well known in Hollywood and hip hop circles, a person that has a certain amount of cachet just doing him as he is now. That might be sufficient for him. Understand, yes, he grew up with Aussie, but then when he came to this country, he was the typical superstar athlete. Here you are, 6'10", going to LSU. Everybody telling you you're going to be the number one pick. You the man, you the man. Everybody basically doing whatever they do for superstar athletes in this day and age. Oh, you ain't got to worry about classes. Oh, you ain't got to worry about this. Oh, yeah, I'm your agent. Don't worry. You only at LSU for a year. Put in your work, but you ain't got to overdo it. Oh, they trying to work you to our practice. No, tell them you can't do all that. Oh, y'all not going to make the playoffs? Then, yeah, you can shut it down for a couple games. All this is going on in this young man's life, okay? Then he comes to the 76ers. They have the coach that they had. Clearly, that dude was a player coddler, okay? Yeah, y'all ain't got to work that hard. It's a reason why certain people went to that squad and was like, nah, I ain't liking this. Y'all go ahead and trade me. Get me up out of here. I go back to one young man that's not in Miami. You know, young Butler? It's a reason why you want to be on that squad with them dudes, okay? So when you mention soft, yeah, you on the button with that one. But in terms of what the problem is with him, it's not what they making it out to be. It's the fact that they don't get him. He get what they want, but they don't get him. And his whole thing is, I got the big contract now. I'm doing me. Doing me got me to an all-star game. Doing me got me into consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. Doing me does get me good numbers. Now, yeah, Bottom line, is he misplaced in terms of where he is in the NBA? Yeah. Philly's not a good town for that dude, okay? You coming soft, they ain't got time for that. They're going to get on you, just like they did during the playoffs last year when it looked like he wasn't really trying to get it in. Think about what went on that squad. First of all, you got Z coach over there and Doc Rivers, the coach that was so bold and bad, that nigga traded his own son. So if he traded his own son, you know what he gonna think about you if you ain't handling biz. First of all. Second of all, you got Embiid that basically is Philly. He is the best beloved athlete in Philly since young Allen Iverson, okay? So in the end, if he got a problem with you, they got a problem with you. Let us not forget, during that playoff run, Embiid was hurt, as he often is. But unlike Simmons, he toughed it out. Bad back, bad leg, and all. He showed up
Big
and showed
man.
out the playoff games. Where was Ben? What was Ben doing?
He
We
was
didn't
on that milk carton.
work on that punk ass jumper. We didn't see him in pickup games. Hit that boy. You 16, okay? You get halfway from the basket to the 3-point line and throw in a half-hearted jumper. You can hit that boy. If Magic Johnson could come in the league and develop a jumper, if pick an athlete, okay? Big man, didn't hardly have no jumper. Worked on a couple years. Hell, you got damn you got the
Even
White
when
House squad.
it better, man.
That
Even
dude
honestly,
had no type of game.
the game.
The White had no game. All he could do was dunk when he first came in the league. Even that dude could throw half a hook and a floater. Come on, man. The problem is now you stuck with that big contract. If he didn't have a big contract, he would already be somewhere else. Bottom line is you got the big contract. You can't just give him away now. You got to try to get a couple first round picks or at least somebody of equal value. And bottom line is, even though he's not a great shooter, everything else he brings to the table is worth having for most squads. The thing is, you can bring him to a Pistons team that don't necessarily need him to shoot. However, he's in the way at that point because you have to switch him to his natural position, which is not point guard. At best, he's point forward. He's Grant Hill without the skill set. But yeah, bottom line is Philly in trouble here. Either you rat him out or you basically give him to someone and hope for the best. Because you're not
You
going
know,
to.
need some of that contract.
And now you got to wonder also in Philly if they wish they kept young Folk. Because Folk ended up being halfway decent for Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been better off trading Ben to Orlando in the first place. I'm saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Okay, now talk to me about a man named Max Scherzer. What did he do this week?
Man, 3,000 strikes, man. That guy, man, probably. I don't even like talking about Max, man, because when I talk about Mad Max, I think about our potential, what we could have had, and the championship that we supposed to have. Dude.
No,
Yeah,
that's wrong. That's
man.
wrong. Championship we should have multiple.
Man, ain't no way.
We basically had.
And then our whole starting lineup, just about pitching staff, won championships now.
Let's see. We at least had them go to the playoffs. Hell, even
Sure,
when the Sanchez left, he ended up going to the playoffs with Atlanta.
Yeah. Sanchez won.
Right.
What's my man's name? Porcello
won with Boston. That's right.
I'm trying to see who else.
You got Verlander, of course.
With Houston, you know, abstract if you want. Right. Yeah, man. Our starting lineup, man, won championships, man.
Right. And then we get into JD Martinez and all the other people that basically sent off to other teams.
Dombrowski. So yeah, just what Max Scherzer's doing, man, and it ain't even fair because he's doing it with the Dodgers It's like he could have did it with any other team, man. He go over there to a team that was already star-studded and picked the gems, man. The 3,000 was in a whole nother level, man. I just definitely look at him and I say, I think he could go another 4 or 5 years, man. And if he stick around with that team, man, I can see LA winning multiple championships. So, yeah, man, just what he brings to the table, man, as an ace. Yo, what's up, P, man? You all right?
I mean, but bottom line, you is Tigers messed up. Okay, they didn't want to pay Scherzer They didn't want to pay him the big picture money because of that kind of funky arm motion he had. That arm was not gonna last this long. That after a few years, he was gonna break down, and we'd be stuck on the hook. Basically, we done had that situation in the past. Lord knows, we just got out of one with a couple pitchers that we will rename nameless. Because the Tigers basically went big on them and the Pelfreys and such of the world. They turned out to be garbage. Didn't even get close to your money's worth, okay? So, yeah, now we have the distinction of having basically traded away at least 3 Hall of Famers, it seems like. And I hope they don't make that same mistake when it comes to Miguel Cabrera. Let that man finish up his career here. He deserves that. Even if you don't have nothing but have him be the pinch hitter that last year of the contract or occasionally DH. He deserves the right to retire on his own terms.
He put in the work.
Right. But bottom line, Scherzer is one of 2 major leaguers that currently have 3,000 strikeouts in Major League Baseball. Who's the other one?
You say, oh, you asked me who's the 3,000?
There's one other pitcher in the major leagues that currently has 3,000 more strikeouts. Who is he?
Another pitcher, I'm trying to guess. Is it our boy Verlander?
That's correct.
Okay.
So you mean to tell me we had 2 pitchers that went on to have 3,000 strikeouts, and we got basically now half a staff that's on innings restrictions or hurt and out for who knows how long? Particularly when you talk about Turnbull, they say Turnbull might miss half of next year after Tommy John.
Yeah, we didn't even really get nothing for them like you thought that we should neither, though, man.
And let's not forget the fact that one of the trades they made to get Scherzer in the first place was trade Robbie Ray, and Robbie Ray is in consideration for the Cy Young Award over there in Toronto. That's another pitcher he gave up.
Yeah, he been pitching jewels, man. That's the reason why they competing right now, man, for that playoff spot with a wild card. What's up, H2?
Absolutely. What's going on, H2? What it is. But yeah, baseball races, just to get into them quickly, they are definitely heating up. You know, got about 20 games left in the season. The Dodgers and San Francisco have clinched playoff spots. We got other teams on the cusp of doing so. The White Sox will probably be the next team to go on here to get in the playoffs. All right, hold on. No Facebook tonight. Is the YouTube your new home? Really? Facebook. There we are right here on Facebook, buddy. That me, that him. I think you might want to check your connection, my guy. We on this boy. Shout out to my cousin Charles and Amy. I see y'all here also. Shout out to Duchess and G Baby, Like Les, Rivar Antoine, Mark Def. We got a lot of people in the house. JoJo Dancer, Sarita. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, we got people up in here, Pride. Check your internet, my baby. We on this boat. But yeah, baseball, I'm looking forward to these playoffs, Hugh. You know, it's gonna be a whole different story now that we got full crowds back and teams played in full schedules and all of that good stuff. The National League definitely heating up in terms of the wild card race. Every day seems like people swapping who's in and who's out. In the American League, you know, the Yankees and found their way in the midst of this stuff. So, you know, they're going to be in the mix. And out there in the West, the Angels.
They beat 500, they lose 3, man. It's like they so iffy right now, man. And I'm glad you looked at that because that's the topic I was talking about too, as far as the Angels. When I seen today, they scratched down my man's trial, which we kind of figured, man. Why would you bring him back for 20 games? Yeah, I think he can make a difference, but at the same time, man, just let that man rest. Hell, he been out this long, and then Shohei been holding it down for this long, man. It's like see what they could do without him so far, man. Just let that man come back rejuvenated. And see what they got with some of these new pitchers they draft, man. Try to bring some of them dudes up because that's really losing them games, man. It's not really the best because they're gonna always have the bats. They always, for the last 2 years, had the bats. They just couldn't produce with the pitching, man. They couldn't keep the pitching under control.
Thank you, Jay Mills, for the gifts here on Bigo. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, pitching just been the problem for years. What it is about the Angels and pitching. It's like, remember, this this season's draft, their amateur draft. They had 20 rounds. They drafted pitchers in each and every round. That's how much they recognize that pitching is the issue out there in Anaheim, or what used to be Anaheim.
That's gonna help them a lot too, I believe, man, because on the fact that some of the
Not crying, yo. Okay. You know I'm messing with you, Brad. Don't get sensitive on me, bruh. But no, I'm sitting here looking at the live here on Facebook. I don't understand. Something ain't right. But nonetheless, people, we're gonna kind of have to put baseball on the back burner for the moment because there's other things we got to talk about before we get to football. So yes, you hold on, man. I know you want to go there. Look at him. Every time I say I ain't ready to talk about it, see how mad he get. Look at him. Look at his face. Look at his face. He ready to bust at the seams. But no, I definitely want to get into this topic because people, I need you to understand something. We are in the golden age of sports and don't even recognize. What do I mean by that? I want to talk about one particular person, Novak Djokovic. For those of you not familiar, he is the number one male tennis player in the world right now. He won 3 of 4 of the Grand Slam tournaments. The fourth was the U.S. Open. He was in the final, and he ain't win, y'all. And when I say he cried like a little biatch, he cried like a little biatch. And I'm surprised you didn't chastise him on his page like you usually do when people cry openly in sports. I'm surprised I didn't get no Jordan crying emoji for Djokovic.
Yeah, that's the time I can tell you I feel bad for that guy, man.
Man,
That's pride right there saying he on Facebook now. But yeah, man, I think, man, to see him win all those, man, I thought he was gonna definitely win them all, man. It was really shocked he didn't. It was really pulling for him, man. But then 3 out of the 4 ain't so bad, man. I'm hoping that he could eventually, before he leaves the sport of tennis, man, get 4, you know.
hold on. Where's the mic? It's time for a little song. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Dude didn't make damn near $15 million this year alone. Promise you I'm not crying for that guy. He made a killing playing tennis this year, okay?
Oh yeah.
So understand that in the end, he presently has the record for most majors won by a male in the tennis world. Right behind him are the 2 legends who are currently out with injury, but we figure that when they get back, Roger Federer and his buddy, the lefty, when they get back, they both about 40 at this point. Okay? We got the sisters, Serena and Venus, in their early 40s. Nobody plays tennis in their early 40s. This is such a rare thing. And not only do they not play, they definitely are not competitive. They definitely not making it to finals and semifinals at 39 and 40. So the fact that we still got them playing at this high level, yeah, he did get his butt spanked, H2, no doubt. He went out like a sucker. But
Who they need the most.
You got to figure this next year or two, all these people doing their swan song, dog. They on their way out of here. And what does that
Yeah.
leave us with? Okay, think about it. We got baseball. We got two people right now with 3,000 strikeouts. At the rate baseball goes now, where you only pitching 5 and 6 innings, and they shutting you down halfway through the season, so your arm don't get jacked up. You got to get Tommy John surgery. We're not gonna see too many more 3,000 strikeout people. We definitely not gonna see a lot of 300 win people.
No, not at all.
We definitely entering a whole new age of sports. Okay, understand this. Now, in NBA it's a little different. All the scoring records and stuff probably only last for so long because at the rate everybody shooting threes from outside the parking lot, everybody got 20 scoring soon enough. And on the women's side, they had someone who was ranked like, no, that's where you're wrong. That person wasn't even ranked at all, H2, the person that won on the women's side. But that's my point that I'm making. You're going to see a lot more of that, I believe, H2, in the years to come. There are no dominant players anymore.
I
Like
didn't
we
know
had,
who she was when I saw her, honestly.
right, look. Yeah, when Brady retires, LBJ, all these things are unheard of. And when these people retire, who are there to replace them?
Yeah.
Might be the next Brady, maybe. LBJ, I don't know if it's going to be another Jordan or LeBron James type athlete to come along. I don't see nobody like that coming down the pipeline. The Williams sisters, there will never be another Venus and Serena.
Mm-mm.
Never.
Never.
Because keep in mind, for the years that Serena didn't dominate, her sister Venus did. And they basically held down tennis and women's tennis in particular for about the better part of 20 years. Never will you see a stretch like that again. Keep in mind, I was fortunate enough to be alive to see Jordan, to see Wayne Gretzky, to see the great Tiger Woods. We don't have people like that coming down the pipeline. Are there good players out there in all these sports? Absolutely. But in terms of being that dominant player, that player where it's like, oh, they playing, oh yeah, get all this other shit up, turn that shit off. We got to watch this dude right here. We don't have too much of that anymore. And I really
No.
need us to appreciate what we got while we still got it. I promise you, whatever is left of Tiger Woods, if he picks up that golf club and is able to get on a course and play one more time, at least one more time, and it could be in the Punk National Greater Cheese Open. It don't matter what open it is. If he is playing, it's gonna be on TV. It could be in my backyard, a four-hole course. It's gonna be on TV. Tiger Woods had that type of cachet. If Michael Jordan up and left his office tomorrow and said, "I'm about to play one more game. I want to see if I can play one more time." Everybody and their mama will buy that pay-per-view to see him play one more game. We don't have people like that in the sport anymore. And it's really something we need to appreciate. You
Oh, absolutely, man. Because I know, like you said, and I'm glad that they put that up there when she said the Brady's and LeBron James and stuff, man. Because I heard a customer who was complaining and talking stuff about him, LeBron James, and I said, man, wait till he move on, man. I said you ain't gonna appreciate him until he's gone, like we did with Jordan. Training is much different now. Yeah, it is so much different because I don't think a lot of people are built like that anymore. Like you were saying, they're not built like that.
all right? Prior checking in. I think the natural progression of humans in terms of living longer, being faster and stronger, that these athletes will be replaced. However, I feel like we likely will be dead and gone before it happens. I would have to agree. I mean, keep in mind, in terms of longevity, yeah, I see athletes playing longer. The average tennis player when I was a lad probably played to about a good 30. After that, they was on the decline. You're gonna see a lot more players play past 30 and 35, but how dominant will they be? That's the question.
Yeah,
Will they
but
have
it's
a run like we're seeing now with Novak, who then basically won 5 out of the last 8 major tournaments, like Serena with 23, and her sister with 7, and so on and so forth. Like I said, let's just go to Venus right now in terms of tournaments won. You got Serena with 23. You got her sister Venus. I believe she has 7. And then I believe you get hold on, Miss Osaka. You know I gotta show her since I bring her up. There's certain pictures that we automatically just keep because we know we're gonna talk about these people a lot. She's got about 4 or 5 of them right now. So yeah, she might get into the double digits, but she's not gonna get up there with Serena. Not at all. My whole thing is in terms of dominant, must-see athletes, those are a dying breed. Chris Evert retired at 34. See what I'm saying? And she was one of the better ones to do it at the time. But like I said, Serena Venus blew past her in terms of overall wins and what have you. And like the guru said, sports medicine technology added in. Exactly. So it's not the issue of the athletes playing longer, it's for how long
how relevant they'll be.
Right. There will be players that play past how long LeBron is playing, but will they still be this dominant? Right now, if LeBron said, I want to be traded, most teams would trade for him and trade significant pieces to get a 38, 39-year-old LeBron James because he is still relevant enough to get your team at least to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
How many older players you know is like that? I mean, keep in mind, there are other people in the league around his age or older. You got people like Carmelo. Are you trading half your team for Carmelo? You got people like Chris Paul. Are you trading half your team for Chris Paul? You see my point? See, the research department is busy. Ford retired at 26. Look up Andre Agassi while you're at the H2. That was a dominant player for a short period of time.
Absolutely.
Like I said, there have been dominant players in these sports. Jack Nicklaus, he was dominant for several years. You see what I'm saying? When all is said and done, Tiger Woods will not make it to the amount of championships he won, but he still will be more dominant. It was basically months where Tiger Woods was either finishing first or second or fifth for months at a time in different tournaments all over the world. Very few people could say that. He has won 80 tournaments. Nobody has won that many. And this is over the course of 20-some years, people. Andre Agassi was 36. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the longer tenured people. You can look up Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors, I think, played to about 40. But he was not as dominant in the last 4 or 5 years as Serena.
Andre played till his hairline was receded, boy. He had to give it up.
So, yeah, folks, this is what I'm saying. Enjoy this moment in time, okay? We are seeing some of the best to ever do it. And while I add to that, I definitely have to add on some of the coaches like my coach Oriama over there at UConn. Definitely got to talk about Nick Saban over there in Alabama. These are some of the best we've ever seen to do it. The best we will ever see do it, ever. And we're not really appreciating it for what it is.
Because they hate how dominant the teams be, man. Because, you know, I was to the point where I was like, man, I'm getting sick of this damn Jordan. But then when the documentary and everything came out, man, I was there to see it, man. It was just reliving some of my past. It was like being there yesterday.
Now, see, it's a difference with that one, H2. Keep in mind, Martina for a time shut it down and then came back out of retirement to play. Keep in mind, Serena and Venus, they never shut it down. They didn't play this whole time, even though they both have had serious medical issues at some point. But even still, you know, they dealt with that and came on back. Hell, Serena didn't had children, came back and played at a high level. So I'm just saying, y'all, let's appreciate this time. She was the oldest person to win at Wimbledon. Yes, she was, Martina Navratilova, at least at the moment. Who knows? Because like I said, at this point, Serena and Venus, they don't play for the money. They got generational wealth, either of them. Between the two of them, they made a good $200 million playing tennis and all endorsements and stuff aside. They play now because they love to play.
The passion for it.
And like I said, it's different because not only do they love to play, but they still very, very good at it. Just like Tom Brady. He ain't need the money when he was 30, let alone 45. His wife make more money than he do. Let's not forget that.
His wife making that money.
With the Patriots, he was like, no, I ain't got to make all that. Let my people eat. So, yeah, he definitely not doing it for the money. He not doing it to get into the Hall of Fame. They could make an exception for that dude right now. Would nobody be mad? The day you retire, Tom Brady, come on to over there to Canton, and you can get your gold jacket right now. And who could question that? He is the GOAT. But like I said, I think y'all will understand better about 5-10 years from now when all these people are no longer playing and we have what is left.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree with you on that one.
Okay, you has no argument. Okay, see, the thing is, you ain't trying to hit none of this, y'all. You tired of me talking about all this other stuff. So when we get back, let me get this man what he need, okay? When we get back, it's time to talk to football. He ready to talk to football. Y'all ready to talk to football. See? There you go. See?
Football time.
He is ready to talk to football. So, yeah, just to be a little shit. But yeah, when we get back, it's football talk time, people. Let's get it in.
Y'all know what time it is.
This your boy E. Beezy. Love them Tigers, dog. And there go that doggone Hugh, his football of himself. We'll be back.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unscripted talk on police reform and race relations.
And now, Behind the Blue Curtain's law enforcement liaison, retired 32-year Chicago police veteran, homicide detective, former commander, sergeant, grant writer, lecturer, and adjunct professor, Joseph J. Mosley.
Behind the Blue Curtain's Minister of Common Sense, former 12-year Fort Worth police officer, educator, voice of reason, and unapologetic practitioner of sound judgment, the young scholar, LaRonda Young.
Behind the Blue Curtain's co-host, fact checker, and investigative journalist, Isidoro Rodriguez.
The views and or opinions expressed here on Gametime Audible is that of the host and or guests, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. What up, everybody? Gametime Audible is back. Boy E. Beezy in the building, and that's the sports guru Hugh Lee. And I didn't get enough talking. It's his turn to get it in. So we talking about the thing he likes to talk about the most, y'all. That brother loves the football. I love the football too, just not as much as this guru. So I gotta let him have his due on this thing. So without further ado, my friends, it's time for you to take over the show. What we talking about? Who we talking about? What team? College, pro? What we got? What we got?
Yeah, I want to get into some college, man. You know, it was some really good games, man. And big ups to Coach V, man, because he was the one last week who actually called it out on what was going to go on with Oregon. He's basically saying don't take those guys lightly, man. And you know that everybody felt like since it was in the horseshoe at Ohio State, they were just going to walk.
Hold on. What happened with Oregon?
Come on now. They spanked you, but they beat Ohio State.
They did what?
Beat Ohio State with the horseshoe.
The punk ass lost.
People thought that they were just gonna go in there, and people just thought they was gonna put on their jerseys and put on their, uniforms, and they was gonna go out there and just go with the flow and win the game. But now Oregon thought different, man. And the crazy part is they didn't have two of their best defenders, in the game, and still won. Just imagine if those two guys was in the game.
Excuses. They lost.
Oh no, I'm talking about Oregon. I'm talking about Oregon. If Oregon had their linebacker and they pass rusher in the game, defensive end, it would have been probably even worse, man. So yeah, man, Oregon didn't even come fully staffed, man. They was missing two on defense to still win.
They had people hurt. They had people out with COVID to it. That ain't the thing. Here it is, people. And we're going to learn this even more so once we get into the meat of the season. Last year was an anomaly, okay? Some of these teams that are ranked now because they were good last year, they wasn't really good. They were just in the right place at the right time with the right amount of students not having COVID, okay? Good evening, everybody. Who might that be? That's my man, Tracy. What up, Trace? What's going on, bro? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Mr. 123.
Man.
Fielder, what up? Yeah, man. Some of these teams got exposed last week because they're not as good as they thought they were. They're not as good as some of us thought they were. And it came out. I go back to Florida State and the Notre Dame game, for example. Neither one of the teams as good as people think they are.
Not at all.
And that showed up in that game. Bottom line, Notre Dame should have dominated that game like they did the first part of that game. Should never have got to the point where the game got tied up, okay? And with much respect to the person that came in and did his thing, if you know the story about that young man who came in, the backup quarterback, great story. Definitely look it up, y'all. But bottom line is Florida State is not the Florida State of old. They are not. Rest in peace, Bobby Bowden. This is not Bobby Bowden's Florida State, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised that they lost. Okay? Notre Dame, on the other hand, Notre Dame gets a lot of extra credit because they Notre Dame, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Duke in basketball. It don't matter if they're in a good conference. It don't matter if they got All-Americans or not. They do. Same with Notre Dame. It don't matter. They're Notre Dame. They got their own network. They're the only team independently that can go to NBC and be like, you know you want us on your network, 100 million. NBC will be like, okay, we'll pay y'all.
They should have lost to Toledo too.
It's better for the NCAA if Notre Dame is featured. Don't you understand this? Because they ain't got to go into the group pot to pay Notre Dame. Notre Dame is its own separate entity, purposely so, even though they are in the ACC when it comes to most of the other sports. When it comes to Notre Dame football, it's a whole nother level. So, yeah, it's like every year Notre Dame ranked top 10 off rip, just on GP. And then if you really look at their schedule most years, outside of playing Michigan, occasionally playing Ohio State, Michigan State.
Pretty light.
The USC game. Who do they really play up until the time for them to come to the playoffs?
Not too many people.
Playoff, what usually happens? They
get exposed.
They get to Alabama and they screw the pooch. They crap the bed. They don't get it in. Look who's here. Hey. What's the Gatorade team? Big Meech from Savannah. Shout out to Big Meech on a little slight detour from his usual hometown. Go down there to Savannah, Georgia. Take care of some business. What's going on, big stuff? But yeah, Notre Dame, I ain't trying to hear that, all right? The whole thing is Ohio State better hope that the Pac-10 is real suspect this year. Because at this point now they need Oregon to not only win the rest of their games, but to win the Pac-10 So that legitimizes that loss that they just took to them. So in the end, that's going to be your place to get into the playoff, assuming you don't lose anymore. And from
I'm sorry, E, didn't cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, there's something they've been having issues with this year, man. The running game, man. They cannot stop the run, man. The first game when they played Minnesota, that running back ran all over them, man. And then now you look at it and the running back from Oregon ran all over him, man. It's just like, I don't know. Them two guys who got 100-yard games on them, too. So, yeah, that's something I noticed, man. They run game ain't as good as it used to be in the past.
And you just saw Big Ten football this year. What is Indiana doing? They throwing the ball. But damn near every other team in the Big Ten, they running the ball. Michigan State sure as hell running the ball. Michigan, they primarily ran the ball. Yeah, if we see that this is going to be their weakness throughout the season, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, they're going to run on their throw.
If your defense can't stop it, yeah, we got to do that. And two, more importantly, with us running the ball, that eats up the clock, so you can't bring that high-powered offense on the field and blow us out that way. It's a whole strategy going on here. What else you got, Hugh?
Man, I want to get into some of the other games too, man. As far as who played, one of the bigger games, which disappointed me, man. I thought Iowa State was going to be a little better than what it was, man. I definitely thought this was Iowa State year, but then they, kind of jabbed them too, man. I heard Iowa say that they were still their little brother, and then they made a point. They went out there and they just flat out dominated Iowa State, man. It was just a little disappointing. I thought they were going to play with a little more passion after being disrespected like they were.
Iowa State, Colorado State, Utah State. These games will never be the major rivalry games as much as they want to be. It won't be like Oregon State. It won't be like Texas, Oklahoma. It won't be like Oklahoma State. It sure as hell won't be like Michigan State. It most definitely won't be Auburn, Alabama. They are not on that level. So when these games come up early in the season, it's for a reason. Oh, hell no. No, the hell you did.
Yes. Yes, I see it.
You disrespectful mother. If you weren't my brother, you weren't my brother.
Speaking of, man, how do you feel about
Wolverine? Why you
live Colorado Texas A&M game, man? Because they barely squoze through, man, and everybody got high hopes on Texas A&M, man, and I just feel like I'm not really feeling them right now, man. Definitely how high they're ranked too.
I done seen them play. Don't sleep on Texas A&M. They had a bad week. I give them that. But they better than advertised. They the opposite of some of these other teams. They deserve to be ranked up there. I think it will prove itself out in the next few weeks.
Because Colorado hasn't really been that good since Eric Bieniemy. You know, that was a while ago.
Did this nigga pull out Eric Bieniemy? Oh, my. What was that, the 9th? Yes, don't sleep on Texas A&M. I agree. I agree.
You ever think Texas A2, man? Get out of here, man. You see
with quickness. Yeah, I think Michigan plays Maryland this year later on this season.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I want to see what you got to say when that game come up. You can sleep on Michigan, yeah. See, you trying to start some stuff now. You take you and your sorry little people back down there to Maryland and be quiet. How at me when basketball season get here. Then Maryland a little something. Right now, Maryland.
You know what I was hoping for this weekend too, E, man. We're gonna bring the skeletons out of the closet on this one, man. I really had my fingers crossed, man. I was hoping Miami lost to Appalachian State, bro. I really did.
Man, what is it about Appalachian State? They kind of almost like Gonzaga in a way. Ever since that fateful day in Ann Arbor, they just seem to play better. They believe. We make them believe. It's gonna take for 1 year for them to come here and us redeem ourselves and whoop their ass like 64-0.
We're gonna have to, man.
Here's part of the problem that we're gonna have, folks. The reason why it ends up having all the higher ranked teams when we start to get into the first part of the college playoffs scoreboard season, which is like around week 7 or so. Them first few weeks, them SEC teams either beat up on each other or they play some nobodies, especially the factory. Yeah, that's right. Now I'm talking about your squad, the factory.
You know we ain't worried about nobody.
They don't be playing on nobodies. Troy and Alabama State and teams that Mercer, they ain't got no business playing no Alabama.
We play Florida this coming week.
That might be all right. Hopefully, old boy will get back from that injury he had last game because he was looking good. But yeah, bottom line is I'm hoping Alabama don't go undefeated again. But it wouldn't surprise me though.
I wouldn't, you know what? This year I'm looking at it too. I still feel like they're gonna have some growing pains, man. Even if they do be dominant bandits, it still feels like Nick Saban is not satisfied with what he's seeing. He's still upset for some reason.
Damn so care. What's going on? Like Quinn. Thanks for coming through, y'all. You see this dude here? He been out the closet. Don't sleep on the nobodies. They become spoilers. Yeah, in some cases that is the case. I do believe
what see back in the past.
Right. It's definitely gonna be some spoilers in the SEC and in the Big Ten, I think. That's why it might get to be an interesting race when it comes time to figure out who in the playoff this year. Because usually you'll have like 2 or 3 teams, they undefeated, and that's pretty much a no-brainer with them. That's not gonna be the case this year, I think. Georgia, they will definitely lose a game. Clemson had already lost the game. We already got Notre Dame on shaky ground. These were some of the major teams people were talking about being in the playoffs. So outside of Alabama, because again, Alabama being Alabama, they automatically seem to get an extra loss. So even if they do lose one, it's like they didn't. And Ohio State, they almost there in terms of having that extra loss cachet, but depending on who they play in the Big Ten that they'll lose to, because it seems like every year Ohio State will lose that one stupid game along with one of these other big games they play early on. So they'll lose to like an Indiana or a Purdue or something, and that'll put them on that shaky ground.
Wouldn't have seen that Purdue lost too, man, before in the past, which shock is all.
Yeah, but the thing that concerns me is the fact that I'm looking at the future of my NFL franchise, which we'll talk about later. And I'm not seeing a lot of people that's standing out at the moment. Like, oh, we got to get that dude. Oh, that dude gonna be a monster on Sunday. We're not seeing too much of that early on. A lot of yeah. See, H2.
You're just gonna have to keep being sick because we here to stay, baby.
I ain't even paying you no attention now, H2. I see what you're doing. I'm sick of Bama too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sick of the factory.
Hey, the factory gonna be the factory, baby. I hate us too.
Front runner. Anyway, so we're going to week 3 now. You got any games that's standing out in your mind, H2 or Hugh for that matter? Any games you want to see this weekend?
Yeah, like I was saying, I definitely want to see what Bama gonna do with Florida, man, because Florida's been playing pretty solid, man. That's not that bad of a squad, man. And then going to Florida, that's what I want to see how they gonna react in the swamp.
Hugh, the factory ain't the only team that play, okay? There's other teams that play. Can you focus on other teams, please? You ain't even saying nothing about Blue because they don't win that game this week. I ain't even caring about watching no more Michigan games this year. We can't beat Northern Illinois.
Besides that, I'm gonna go to one of our Big Ten guys, one of our Big Ten rivalries. The Penn State Auburn game look like that's gonna be pretty good, man.
That's gonna be a good game, and I agree with you too, H2. That UCLA Stanford game look like it should be a good one as well. I agree. Shout out to Dream Entertainment and Beauty T. What's going on, y'all? Thanks for coming through. But
And
yeah,
then Arizona State BYU, that look like that's gonna be an all right matchup.
I really need Hugh. I need Herm Edwards to start to really do something with that squad. I really
Arizona
thought to coach Arizona State, he's gonna put them on the map in the Pac-10 or the Pac-12 now. Not so much. Not so much.
They just all right. I don't look at them like they're a big powerhouse, and they still on the cusp of trying to be one of those main heavy hitting teams. It's like until they get into the top 10, I can't really I just not feeling it right now with Arizona State. I think they'll have to do more.
Who is Boise playing? As in Boise State? Let's find out for you. All right. Yeah, keep going, Hugh, while I access that information.
All right, man. If you want, man, we can start.
Good game, H2. Boise State's playing Oklahoma State this weekend.
Oh man, that's gonna be a pretty good one.
Absolutely. I definitely like that running back Sanders that they got at Oklahoma State. So I'm interested to see if they go running game on Boise. And of course, I always like to see Boise State play at home. Blue being my favorite color, blue turf.
We love that Smurf turf.
I love the Smurf turf. But yeah, let us quickly access some of the top 25 games for the weekend. And let's go through them right quickly, shall we, folks? Can we do that right quick? We get Oklahoma and Nebraska this weekend at Oklahoma.
They're going to beat Nebraska, man, down, man.
Yeah, Boise State definitely has the best looking field.
Hands down.
Between them and Wyoming with that Mustang Brown turf. I like that too. Cincinnati, Indiana, not so much.
Nah.
Of course, we already know about the factory against Florida. And we talked about Auburn and Penn State. Yep. Arizona State, BYU, that's another good one. Actually, UCLA is playing Fresno State this weekend, H2. Well, Fresno State is already 2-1, so we might have something there.
Yeah. I definitely slept on Fresno, man.
Yep, and right now in the top 10, we got number 10, Penn State, number 9, Ohio State, number 8, Cincinnati, number 7, Texas A&M, number 6, Clemson, number 5, Iowa. That's actually a surprise. Number 4, Oregon, number 3, Oklahoma, number 2, Georgia, and of course, number 1, the factory, Alabama. So yeah, as it stands now, we already starting to have that set up. You know how it usually plays out in the course of the season. We had that one Pac-10 team that's kind of on the verge of being in the playoff. We're going to have that one Big Ten team. So basically, whoever wins the Big Ten, they usually get a playoff spot. We, of course, going to have the 2 or 3 SEC teams that's in the midst of that all year. And then the outsider, the Oklahoma, the pickup school. It's already setting up to be same old, same old. I ain't liking that. But I am liking some of these games. They've been highly entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. College always for a spoiler or two.
Yep. So keep in mind, this is pretty much the preseason for college, really. Although we have been getting a lot of good marquee matchups early on. But, this week we should expect a lot of blowouts based on what I'm seeing there. A lot of teams playing their warm-up before they get into the bulk of the schedule when they start to play their people in division. So some of them games gonna be good. Some of them games
not so good.
And that's pretty much how it went last week. Some of them games it was like, yeah.
That's usually Virginia Tech, West Virginia.
Jamie, 1991, and Pass Hunt to you. What's going on? Thanks for coming through, checking out the show here on the Bigo. But yeah, college football is back, y'all, and I love it. The only thing that's missing, EA Sports, y'all need to work on that. We need
Oh
that game.
yeah.
I need you to make it for all platforms, including Nintendo Switch. Look it up. Look it up. I don't even want y'all to wait till next year. We want to play it now. And while you at it, don't forget the basketball game too.
Oh yeah, they've been teasing at it too.
Right, because one is going to be good to play, and two, more importantly, that means all the college kids can get paid. And
Pretty
speaking
much.
of that, Hugh, we got to get into this story. We said we was going to talk about this on the show Wednesday. Locally, there is the team Michigan State University. They are now in a cooperative with a company that does mortgages, I believe. And as a result of that, the basketball and the football team for Michigan State will each get $500 a month for the entire year for advertising on their social media platforms, this company. Now, that's a good thing. We're supposed to be getting paid for playing this game so that we don't have to do stuff like the McDonald's bag incident that he will tell you about in a minute. But the problem, of course, is that the women who go to that school are saying, wait a damn minute, that ain't fair. We have women athletes. Can't they get some of that money? No, we don't have a women's football team, but we do got a women's basketball team. Can they get paid? They got social media platforms, and arguably they will probably do better numbers because, as you know, more women have larger followings on social media than men do. So wouldn't it be a better business decision to pay them as well? What do you think, Hugh?
They definitely should pay them, man, and pay them pretty good. Man, it's just sad to hear a lot of the stuff about the men's sport, and I think a lot of women don't be as supportive. They'll say the women's sports are boring, and they don't really have nothing that they want to really see. But man, it's like even playing ground at this case will make good for the universities, and it'll be good for just basically the women who, like you said, man, they're not even really including them in this. And if they do get paid, how much money will they get paid versus the guy and the male sport athletes? So yeah, that caused a lot of confusion and turmoil just in that whole situation alone. So yeah, it's definitely not good for sports, man. Definitely when they're doing something like paying the players, but then you're kind of turning and looking the other way and not even really looking at the women who are doing the same thing. They playing sports, so why can't they get paid equal amount?
So
It just always causes confusion.
the sad part is the WNBA playoffs about to start next week, and I'm probably the only person in the room that knows. They don't advertise it. They do a terrible job of advertising women's sports in general, with maybe the exception of tennis. It's sad. And they will make 1/3 of what the men make, much like in actual life. That's the sad truth of the matter, H2. And it's not right. I tell you, it's not right. Particularly when you have certain schools where the better athletes, the more recognized athletes are the women. The places like Baylor, like Tennessee, like Stanford, obviously like UConn. Those athletes probably should get paid 3 or 4 times more than the men. Women's sports are more technical than men's sports. When it comes to certain sports, yes. Other sports is actually pretty much the same. Take one of your favorite sports, for example, H2 volleyball. Volleyball, in order to be a quality team, you have to be not only athletic, but very technical in how you set things up. But women and men, they may have a better power game in terms of spiking and whatnot, but it's all relatively the same game. So why would you not pay them? And then in terms of sports like gymnastics, for instance, I think women's gymnastics is way more entertaining than men's gymnastics. What do you think, Hugh?
Man, I feel like they should make sure if they're paying the males, they should come up and have that same type of money for the females. If they're giving 500 to the men's football and the men basketball, they should distribute the same amount of money for the women. And I mean, it's not going to break them.
I mean, like I said, They got to understand it sets a bad precedence when you only pay the men to advertise your company, because in a way that's you saying, oh, we only advertising to men anyway. Women don't have the type of money we need to get our business to get upgraded, and that's not fair.
And when it comes to, man, they the ones who be usually spending the most money.
And you know, I've mentioned that several times, H2, the fact that it's sad that most of the WNBA players make 3 and 4 times more money overseas than they do here in America. And this is supposedly a terrible sport. It's terrible. And that's even the case in soccer. Soccer players who are women make far more money overseas than they do here in the women's soccer league. It's sad.
Yeah, it shouldn't even have to be in this way, man. Like you said, for them to go overseas to make more money.
Here we go. I hate to be sexist. Whenever you start out your sentence with I hate to be sexist, usually after that comes a sexist statement. Let's see what you got. I hate to be sexist, but if these sports don't generate the type of revenue that the men counterparts do, how can one justify paying them the same? Now, right now, we're not necessarily talking about the sport. We're talking about the people willing to pay the people to advertise.
Yeah.
Brad, I point out that more women have more followers on their social media platforms than the men do. So, from a standpoint of getting your message out to a larger audience, would it not make sense to advertise on women's social media platforms even more so than men? If anything, I could almost justify the women making more money than the men when it comes to this particular issue. Now, the sport itself and the sports themselves, entirely different situation. But for this particular incident and this particular situation, this is what I'm talking about. Even in softball overseas, yeah, absolutely, H2. So let me say this women's college sports brings in major revenue. And in some cases, that is the case. Definitely the UConn Lady Huskies, my squad, they definitely bring in nice money for the basically even when they play Okie Doke Poke State in game 2 of the season, the place is crowded, okay? Down there in Tennessee, Pat, South Carolina, Pat, Stanford U, Pat,
LSU,
Texas, LSU, Louisiana Tech. These women's sports bring in good money. Keep in mind, remember, I used to cover women's sports, Pride. This is just not me pontificating about these things. Certain places I've actually witnessed for myself. So, I mean, my whole thing is there is just not a good advertisement of women's sports. That's actually a subject I want us to talk about in a couple weeks, but I kind of want to save that for when the WNBA goes into playoff mode so I can kind of get into that. But that being said, y'all, we're taking away from some valuable football talk time, okay? Because you see, he feel a little better about it, but he still ain't happy. Look at that face. He ain't talking about football enough, y'all. We got to let him get it in some more. So when we come back, it's time to switch up gears. It's time to talk that NFL. Because, yeah, the college last week was pretty good. But the NFL this weekend, oh, we had some real nice games.
Oh, yeah.
About that. So when we get back, we talking NFL season 1. What y'all have, who y'all liking this season. We're going to get into all of that after this. This is Gametime Audible. That's you. I'm E. This show is about this guy here.
Hey, bitches. No, shorty. I got this one. I'm your boy Derek, and it's time for the remix.
You will see me. Hey, we are back. What's going on? Gametime Audible in the building. H2 already ready to talk about it. This is going to be a very competitive season. And absolutely, H2, I agree. and Dallas held their own. Here he go with them doggone Cowboys. All right.
Gave go too much time, baby. Too bad. Too bad.
Well, since he went there and that was the first game of the season, might as well start there. Hugh, what did you think about them Cowboys and Buccaneers?
The Cowboys showed a good performance, but at the end of the day, when I seen the game and I seen how much they were up and how much time was left, I shook my head. You know, people were texting me and, you know, having things to say, you know, laughing like, are the Cowboys going to pull it off? I said, be that as it may. I said, I still feel like, just in my opinion, I said, look at the clock, man. It's too much time. Sure enough, that's what happened, man. And they, like I said, they put in a strong effort, man. Dak looked good coming back, you know. And a lot of people, even myself, was kind of worried because I thought that, you know, that he was still kind of banged up and they was kind of putting him on training wheels. But when he went out there, man, he went out there slanging it. But it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I can't argue that one, H2. Yeah, that was part of what happened there. But yeah, we already know it's certain people, you get them that window, you got a problem. Okay? It's like back in the day when the bases was loaded and Barry Bonds came to the plate. It's like when it's like 8 points down, 5 minutes to go, and they talking shit to Jordan. It's like yeah, your team down by 2, and here come Mariano Rivera. Certain situations, yeah, you already know it's over with. And when it came down to that, and you seen Brady down there looking at the tablet like what nothing up, like he was talking to Giselle on the phone. Yeah, just let me know when it's our turn. And sure enough, he got in there. He looked around like, y'all know what it is, and he went to work. That's what he do. He the GOAT, baby. Look at this dude. Jackson looked good in his outfit. Ha 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 ha. Cowboys equals horseshoes and hand grenades. And again, there's a couple other good games, Hugh, that definitely got us to talk about. Okay.
What surprised me was, and you know, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Vikings, even though the Vikings usually have a slippery, you know, like rough start, but just to see how poised Joe Burrow was, man. And then he had his main mans in the game, and they look sharp together, man. Besides him already having chemistry with T. Higgins, he looked really sharp with Jamar Chase, because you know he had problems in the preseason at one point where he just couldn't catch the ball, and then people were questioning that, man. And I was like, man, I definitely believe he'll be prepared to play and he'll be guns a-blazing when that game came around. And it was just like they dominated, man, from Mixon to the O-line to, you know, the receivers just dominated the cornerbacks over there in Minnesota, man. The whole game, I looked at it, even when Minnesota came back, I just didn't see them going out there and beating Cincinnati. Not the way they played, not at all.
When all is said and done, I think the division with the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers is going to be the toughest division in all of football. You potentially got 4 teams that might actually be playoff worthy when all is said and done. Because, yeah, Joe Burrow, you forget this is second year, and he only really played half of one. But remember, when he was playing and going, he was doing pretty good. He had played out, he probably would have been Rookie of the Year. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that he played that well. I'm also not surprised Minnesota did not. We might actually be better than Minnesota. And I'm saying,
faith in Kirk Cousins, man. It was like they gave him all this money in for what, man? He still ain't produced, and he's still not doing what they expect him to do in Minnesota.
Well, I think when all is said and done, Kirk Cousins is just basically Tim Tebow with a better arm. Good enough to be considered quarterback, but not necessarily good enough to be quarterback. That's what that's about. And then, of course, we got to talk about this. You see what H2 saying.
Yeah, I know you've seen First Take with Mike Irvin and my man Steve Smith, man. How do you feel about, and I'm glad Ace2 brought that up because I definitely wanted to talk about that, man. That was one of the things, especially that we talked about for so long, and it got to the point we got tired of it because when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, man, he was a distraction this offseason, man. So we thought when he came out, he was going to say, okay, I want to come out and prove to everybody I am who I am. And he had too many issues and stuff. And you thinking, okay, they were saying it was a great training camp. Everybody was clicking and how good they were doing. He came out, man. This is probably the worst game ever by him. That dude ain't throw a touchdown. I don't even think he had close to 200 yards, and he had 2 picks. Two not so Aaron Rodgers like picks, man, where he just was throwing the ball up for grabs, man, and he wasn't even really trying to take care of the ball, man. I just really felt like it looked like, damn, like, does he really want to be there at Green Bay? When I saw that game, that's what I was thinking. Does he really want to be here right now, the way he's playing?
He don't. We know this. He don't want to be there. Either he don't want to be there or he don't want certain people to be there. And in the ideal world where you have an owner, a true owner, not like a Green Bay situation where in essence the town owns the team. But yeah.
Damn,
most players his caliber would have got rid of the people he had problems with by now. So if you're not liking the GM, if you're not liking the president of operations, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I say they gotta go or I gotta go. Y'all heard Aaron. Y'all got to get the hell up out of here. Green Bay works a little differently in that way.
And we got to give the Saints credit, though, man, because the Saints actually kept pressure on Aaron Rodgers, man. And Jameis Winston, man, he went out there and he balled out, man. They had statistics like, yeah, I saw that. I wanted to talk to you about that too. But he had like 4 red zone area passes that he scored, man. It wasn't that hard for him to look that good, Jameis Winston. Yeah, he had one really good deep throw for a touchdown, but most of his touchdowns was in the red zone.
Well, the thing I liked about Jameis is that clearly the tutoring is working. He is not making some of the dumb decision making.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, did y'all realize and know that Jameis had eye surgery over the offseason? And it said that part of the reason why he threw so many of those interceptions was because he really couldn't see fully. That the contacts that he apparently were attempting to use during the games would fog up and things at times, and that led to him kind of not seeing things correctly. A couple of talking heads talked about that, actually. That's why I know that fact. But all that being said, that and the fact that he is working with one of the greatest offensive minds in the game, on Sean Payton, it is leading him to make better decisions. And that is because if you also notice that it don't seem to matter who Sean Payton plugs into his offense, they do relatively well. We go back to when he had Tatum in at quarterback, when he had Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. They all did well. All right, what's going on, cousin? How's it going? Yeah, we are doing a sports podcast right now, man. Right now we're talking NFL. Feel free to join on in, cuz. Thanks for coming through. And I agree with E-Buck. The Ravens division is going. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a good division. And then keep in mind, they're going to spend half of the season beating up on each other. So the winner of that division might just have 9 or 10 wins.
Yes,
but on the other hand, they may look around and get all the wild card spots coming out that division. We don't know.
Glad that you brought that up too, because the Pittsburgh Steelers looked pretty sharp in that game. I looked at it and I said, being played good enough not to lose. He wasn't slanging it like that because that's a hell of a defense. I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. It was just a game of chess. But when it came to the end, I just felt like that special teams and the defense played a little better for being to win that game, man. And I feel like that strict sack TJ Watt got and then the block punt that cost them the game. But I think that too the Bills got too relaxed, man. They got too comfortable when they got the lead, man. But I'm glad that I seen what type of defense they put on Josh Allen because this is a copycat league. People gonna try to copycat that man because he was basically confused at times and was making bad decisions we didn't see him make last year.
True. You see that, Hugh?
Oh yeah, he definitely still unsigned. But the crazy part about it too is I'm surprised that when my man's went down, Ryan Fitzgerald. I'm sorry.
No,
I think
Fitzpatrick.
that Patrick. Okay. But yeah, he got hurt, and I'm like, okay, damn, who's out there? I said, Cam's out there. Cam could go there and plug in real good. But then I remember Kyle Allen being over there, and I'm like, he ain't really a factor. The Hanky kid is decent, but I still feel like in the situation, the offense is ran basically like how it was at Carolina. So I was surprised that they didn't put him over there or even consider Cam being over there in Washington. So yeah, that really surprised me too. Like, damn, Ron Rivera's over there, and they got some people who are over in Carolina that he took with him. And I was definitely surprised that Cam is still not on an NFL team right now.
Well, I do recall, first of all, that I had a discussion with one Coach V on a show that will remain nameless about one Mr. Hinkie and how good he could potentially be as a starting QB. And I basically told them that he's an anomaly and will probably not even be good enough to be a backup for real. So, yeah, for those who thought he was going to be a good quarterback, you about to get your opportunity to see, sir. Coach V, shout out to you. Second of all, why has Cam not got this call already? Who is the coach of Washington's football team?
Mr. Rivera.
And was that not his head coach for 9 seasons in Carolina?
Correct.
Anybody knows about one Cam Newton that's not related to him, it would be Coach Rivera. And that being said, if he is not good enough to bring on, at least for a temporary period, as a potential backup until they figure out what's going on with Fitzpatrick, then what is the probability that he will end up getting any starting job this year?
Yeah. You heard what he said too, when he said that he's better than at least 32 of the players out here.
Well, not so much that. He basically said that there's not 32 players better than he at the moment. In other words, when you look at all these starting quarterbacks in the NFL, he is at least better than one of those 32, and that's the truth. That's the God honest truth. When you consider some of the people that starting at quarterback in the NFL right now. So yeah, I'm not mad at him. I'm bottom line, if your confidence is not still at that level, you will never be a great quarterback again. So I'm not mad at him for feeling that way. I'm not mad at the interview that he had with his dad. Interesting that it was his dad, mind you. But beyond the things he said in the interview, I didn't have no problem with him saying any of that. I agree with him. Part of the reason why they let him go in New England was because him being the backup will be a distraction because people are drawn to his aura and whatnot. He is purposely that way. All right, hold on. Prior checking in again. Personally, I don't think any team wants him on their bench because of the amount of attention he demands, whether on purpose or not. Agreed. He even said it himself about being a stretch. Yep, as I just said, Pride. I agree. I mean, bottom line, Cam Newton on that squad, he ain't going to have to try. He just going to be a distraction. They're going to come to him. Even if he didn't play a single down in that game. What did you think? Could you have done that better? Do you think that person on his way out? Do you think you'll get, those questions he's going to get. That's part of the reporter's job to stir up something for stories to make it noteworthy. So, yeah, he's not wrong about that. And also keep in mind, in doing said interview, that is also him warming up. We already know where this is leading. If Cam is not back in the league this year or sometime next year, you know where he will probably end up. There is a seat at the desk waiting for him. We know this.
He can either go somewhere like XFL or whatnot, if that's what he chooses to do.
Brad Trapper, what's going on? Shout out to people here on the Bigo. But yeah, we forget the whole XFL factor. I'm just glad that the minute a quarterback got hurt in the NFL, we didn't already start to hear that again. I'm tired of that narrative over the last few years. I'm telling you now, he's not coming back. Collins not coming back to the NFL, okay? And the reason is one, he is the ultimate distraction for them. And two, they didn't pay him more than $10 million. I promise you that. If all he got out of that settlement was $10 million, he'd be a lot more pressed to do what he needed to do to get back in the league.
Because think about this, E. Let's be honest. If we put out there, we made a settlement with Eric Wagner and he decided to, he's going to be cool and nothing's going on. We basically agreed to, squash all our differences. But you say you gave me 10 million, and I say no, you didn't give me 10 million. You gave me 100 million. Why would I be that stupid? This cap didn't say anything. He didn't go back on TV. He just basically just poof with the wind after that. So that settlement is more than what they're saying it is.
Bottom line, between that and the money he getting from Nike, that dude don't need to play no more.
No.
He made him at 30, 40 million while he was in the league. So it ain't like he got money, folks.
Don't you know that your boy Calvin Johnson still beefed out with the Lions, man, after we thought everything was squashed? I read that article and it was saying, he still wanted his 1.6 million, and he was saying, like you said, man, because they wanted him to work for it to get like a shop or a store, and he like, why the hell would I have to do that when I already been put in my blood, sweat, and tears for that money?
Hell no. I need that same type of respect y'all gave Barry, okay? Because bottom line, took Barry's money. Because dude retired, and from what I've heard to this day, it wasn't never no stories out there that he wanted to go play nowhere else. Now, some stories started to surface, interestingly enough, around the time the Hall of Fame thing came up about Calvin. He had deals in place for other teams, and that was part of why they took the money. But no, when you see him talk about the pain that he was having from day to day and how excruciating it was just to play and whatnot, and that he really was ready to call it quits the year before, but they talked him into one more year. No. Bottom line is, Lions organization, your team is worth $2.5–3 billion. You are the Ford. Sell some of them damn escapes and F-150s and pay that man and quit playing.
Hey, what about too? I definitely want to get into this, man. Everybody thought that Julio Jones going over to the Tennessee Titans was just going to go over there, and they were just going, just stomp all over the league. And Kyler Murray had something different for them boys, man. That A.J. Green and D-Hop connect was really dangerous, man. And we ain't going to talk about my homeboy, defensively being Chandler Jones, man. Damn, I mean, this dude got 5 sacks in the game. The first game of the season, dude, that was sick. They just really bullied Tennessee. You ain't think they was gonna do that on the road at that.
First of all, Chandler Jones, you seen what T.J. Watt got? He wants to get paid.
They might as well pay Chandler, man.
Oh, y'all don't think I'm worthy? Let me show y'all something right quick. Don't be surprised we get 3 or 4 more games this season like that out of Chandler Jones. He trying to get
there's a line in Tennessee.
He played like he was trying to get paid. I ain't seen a effort like that since back in the day, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, when they messed up over the car. And Jefferson was everywhere. Tackled by Jefferson. sacked by Jefferson, fumbled by Jefferson. Yeah, it was one of them type of performances.
How did you like Kyler Murray's performance in that game? Do you really think that he's really starting to become his own? Because last year he said he was feeling himself, and the team was feeling themselves too much. And then when they didn't make it to the playoffs and they season was cut short, he was feeling some type of way and just had to say, "I'm not all that, or we not all that. We need to focus on, bottom line, getting better and trying to get to the next level."
Yeah, it looked like somebody else watched that movie too, I see. Man, I'm telling y'all want a classic movie? Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Love that movie. But anyway, yeah, there's that. And then of course, I think Julio has seen some of his better days.
Yo, you heard Vrabel said about it? Vrabel called him out too just recently.
Here's what's gonna happen, and I promise you, there are people now mad from week one because they put Julio Jones in on their fantasy team and was like, "Damn, Julio's supposed to be the man. He gonna get up." Keep in mind, some of y'all gonna have some good days with Julio this year. Okay, he gonna have a couple games where he get off, and we see the old Julio Jones, and you gonna be like, "Oh, there he is." If you count on him to be your number one receiver in your fantasy league, you gonna lose. Not that I'm a super fantasy guru right now, but I did win my week one, and I know he won his week one with a little help from his buddy.
Appreciate the love, man. Debo.
Remember, y'all, when it comes to fantasy, you want consistency, and Julio's not gonna have consistency. Okay, you can almost guarantee one game he gonna get targeted several times and not get nothing. Then it's gonna be one or two games he ain't gonna play. The back spasms, the ankle, the hamstring. It's gonna be something like that. It always is now with Julio these last few years. It's a reason why certain teams didn't try to get Julio. Okay, and we talked about teams that Julio wanted to go to. Of course, he wanted to go to Tampa Bay and play with Brady, but no, they weren't about to trade for him. We good. We need you for. We got all these weapons. He wanted to go to KC and play with Mahomes. No, we good. We got all these weapons. We don't need you, Julio. Hell, they were so good in Kansas City, they let Le'Veon Bell go. And think about how far he didn't fail in these last few years.
Yeah, trying to get in the Ravens lineup right now. And damn, the backup dude played pretty good.
But no, you ain't even got him on the starting squad right now for the Ravens. How bad off is that dude right now? It was a time where basically damn near any team in the league would have traded for Le'Veon Bell. Now look what became of it. It ain't never been the same since he set out that year, man.
Yeah. And they was giving him the money. It wasn't like they wasn't gonna give him the money that he wanted. He thought he was worth more, and then ended up settling for around a little less than what the Phillies was gonna give him. So yeah, that didn't really make no sense to me. So I definitely didn't get that. And you want to talk about another game too that was actually
hold on. Before we move on, I gotta say one more thing about the Titans. What happened to Derrick Henry? What the hell happened to him?
What happened to Derrick Henry? Whoever got him on their fantasy league right now hurting, man. They basically put the game plan around. We just gonna stop the run, man. And that's mainly what they did. They stopped the run, and when they stopped the run, they wasn't afraid of no play action because it wasn't no play action really.
The whole thing is, didn't that dude try to get in twice from the one and didn't get in? Derrick Henry, all 6'3", 250 of them. Got stopped at the one. What's up with that?
Everybody waiting for King Henry now. They licking their chops on that guy, man. They all want Henry, man, because they feel like he's the strongest and he like one of the better, guys at the position. And whenever they play teams, man, they put a dude on there or they'll circle the player and they like this one we got to focus on, man. And Ryan Tannehill, man, no disrespect to him. He never was like a pure passer anyway, to just throwing it and gunning it down the field. They ground and pounded with Henry, and then when they think they're gonna do a run, then he gets some good shots down the field. But when they knew it wasn't no run game with Henry, when they shut him down, they wasn't afraid of no play action because there isn't no play action without Henry. And they just basically got exposed, man. I don't know how many teams will be able to do that, but it was actually pretty surprising to see how they just went over there to Tennessee and just smacked them in the mouth at home.
What position did Tannehill play in college?
Wide receiver.
Okay, let's move on. All right, so enough said. Yeah, well, what else we talking to?
And you already know, man. I don't even want to really talk about it right now, but we're gonna get that skeleton out the closet, man. The Rams in Chicago, man. You know what I hate about this whole ordeal, E? And we're gonna talk about this, and man, I wish Pastor Tillman was on the show to hear what I gotta say. When Stafford was there, we talked about how good he was. Nobody wanted to hear it. They said he throw passes is unnecessary. He's not a great quarterback, man. He's overrated. He was nothing without Calvin. He's just an average quarterback. I don't even know why he even got drafted #1 overall because he's not that good. Now you give him a really good O-line and a hell of a defense to go behind him. This guy threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he has a cannon. We all know that. He threw like a 50, 60-yard touchdown to Cooper Kupp, man, with ease. Now everywhere I turn, oh, man, Stafford's a good, quarterback, man. He's MVP type candidate. He could go all the way. They could be Super Bowl bound, and everybody want to talk about how great he is now. But when he was with us, he was trash, and I didn't understand that. And yeah, I feel like in some ways, man, the Lions let him down, and some of his years were thrown away being here. But if you gave him like that offensive line that they have in LA, and you gave him a hell of a defense to give him some picks and give him the ball back, which they did. They gave him the ball back on a few plays, and you'll see how good that man performed. And it's like now, it's like everybody appreciate how good he is now that he's down in Detroit. But when he was in Detroit, he was just a quarterback who made bad decisions. Man, what's up with that, E?
Well, I always was a Matthew Stafford fan. I ain't had no issue like some of my other Detroit people did with Matthew Stafford. I remember them years when Detroit had no quarterback. Do y'all remember the quarterback carousel we went through? Much like how Cleveland had to do years after. Y'all remember Rodney Peets, the Andre Wares, the kicker quarterback. Lord knows the Kitka, the Kitna days. Oh my God.
The Kitna.
The rusty man. I mean, you name it, they played quarterback for a year here. It took us forever to get a every day, every year quarterback. And when we got one, we disrespected him. We know that dude played hurt for several of those years. Remember the year he had the arm injury and couldn't really air it out. Remember the year where he had the hand injury and couldn't even grip the ball good and still was side arming it from 40 yards like no other quarterback in the league could, with maybe the exception of Mahomes and maybe a little bit Aaron Rodgers. Everybody else who was a talking head who knows football knew that guy was good. Lord knows his favorite cheerleader, Mr. Orlovsky over there at ESPN, constantly talked about how good Matthew was. If he was on a good team, this would happen. So it comes as no surprise that he's on the Rams now, and they already talking about playoffs and Super Bowl and MVP for that dude. But the whole thing is, we learned last week also that Jared Goff ain't that bad.
Not as bad as people thought he was.
Considering what he did, he threw for over 300 yards last week. And guess what? The Lions found a running game. The Lions found a running game, y'all.
Swift, man, that dude was dangerous, man. And they got Jamal Williams, so that's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
And hell, the third back that's kind of banged up right now. They put him in the mix. He may be able to do a little something.
Yeah,
You
talking about
that Penei Sewell dude looked pretty good last week.
yeah.
We might have actually picked the first rounder that actually could do a little something.
You know, I have to bring this one up too, man. And I want your thoughts on this. You know, I know it's a lot of Kansas City heads, said Bill. I'm calling you out on this one. When it came to that Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs game, I want to know your opinion on that one. Do you feel like Kansas City won the game or Cleveland coughed up that game?
I say Kansas City did what they were supposed to do. Remember, the statistic that blew my mind from this weekend was that this was the first time that the Kansas City Chiefs fell behind in a game for more than 2 quarters since Pat Mahomes has been the quarterback. Think about that for a minute. That's over 60 plus games, including playoffs. More times than not, Kansas City is playing with the lead, people.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Mahomes had to come back to win that game, but was able to do so. Hold on. That is another story, my friend.
Because when you look at it,
if you like Captain Ketchup, I understand. But
what I seen in the whole ordeal was the punter gave them an extra possession, and it didn't help when they needed to get the game and seal the game at the end that my man's Baker Mayfield was trying to do too much. That was the most stupid interception ever. You getting tackled by your ankles and you still try to throw the ball. Man, just take the sack, man.
That was Lion-esque.
Oh, man.
That
Cleveland things sometimes, man, unfortunately.
That's the type of things that you used to see Eric Hipple and Gary Danielson do when they played for the Lions. That was Scott Mitchell-like.
Oh, man, Scott Mitchell. That's funny.
Cleveland might actually be better than we realize. But I think we may have to come to the conclusion that in order for them to get to that next level, it might have to be with a different quarterback.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know what it takes to get it done.
Because I just feel like Baker plays great. But when it comes to crucial moments, it seems like he's never doing what he needs to do to get over that hump, man. I definitely feel like you said, man, they're going to have to reevaluate their quarterback.
But bottom line is, at times, Cleveland probably should have went to the run a little bit more often. They did that, they probably would have won that game.
Because that's one thing I feel like is Kansas City weakness, man, when you look at the run game, because it's hard to maintain a Bradley Chubb and a Kareem Hunt, man. That's a hell of a duo, man. If you can stop or slow down one, I don't think you'll be able to do both, man. That's kind of hard to maintain. That's something that, you know, if you got on your defense, man, you got to stop these two guys. It's easier said than done for the most part.
Not to mention they both good with blocking on the run for the passing game, and they also both good catching out the backfield. So there's that you got to consider.
I just feel like Baker didn't do, and he's not really proven to me that he could be one of those top quarterbacks right now, man. And like I said, I do like Cleveland. I have picked them right now, and I still will pick them to be winning that division. But I just still feel like now I'm starting to lose faith in what Baker Mayfield had to offer, especially when it comes to clutch. Because when I saw that, I said, damn, they might be in position to get the Kansas City Chiefs. And that was in the playoffs and in that game. And they just find a way to screw it up, man. Well, let's look at it and say Baker Mayfield found a way to screw it up.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is we got two teams. If they had a decent backup in Cleveland, and for some reason Baker gets hurt, and that backup takes over the team, I could see a situation where they play even better. On the other hand, you got Kansas City, and as much as I like Chad Henne, I believe it's still the backup there. Mahomes get hurt, KC done. They're not making nobody's playoff or nothing else without Mahomes. It's a reason why he making damn near $500 million. Very few people could do the things that he could do on a football field.
Yep.
And he did a lot of that to get that team back in the game to win. But yeah, couple other teams I want to talk about before we run out of time here, Hugh. I want to talk about what went on with the Broncos and one Teddy Bridgewater.
Man, he looked actually pretty sharp, man. He went out there and he did his thing, man. Big ups to Von Miller giving him love too, man. That was really huge what he said, man. He basically was talking about we didn't have that much leadership and passion in what we did as far as the whole team, especially the quarterback position, since Peyton Manning. And he was like, man, I appreciate what you brought to us, man, and keep up the good work, man. And that was really huge to hear, man. And that's the sad part when it comes to Teddy, because I feel like he's doing so good over there right now, man. But who still have interest to go over there, man? Your boy Aaron Rodgers. So it's like wherever I feel like my man's is in a comfortable place, Teddy Bridgewater speaking of, I just feel like it's a distraction always right there with him, man.
Yeah, but my whole thing is Teddy didn't got a bad shake on this whole thing since he's been a quarterback in the league. Basically, he gets hurt in Minnesota. They play him and get the present quarterback in Minnesota without allowing him to earn his way back into the lineup.
Yeah.
Then they send him down to New Orleans to basically be the heir apparent to Drew Brees. Gets played on that one. Then they go ahead and ship him off elsewhere. He don't get the proper chance to play.
Oh yeah, Panthers. Yeah.
Interesting. Mrs. Biles, that will be Miss Simone Biles, testified before Congress. As I recall, that is the story about the investigation into the FBI's handling of the Larry Nassar case.
Yeah, I definitely saw that.
My whole thing is something definitely wrong went on there. This man was allowed to do what he did for damn near 30 years. And several people reported that man, and yet still continued to go on for damn near 2 or 3 decades. It should never have gotten to the point where it got. There are still people coming out saying, yeah, me too. Larry did me too. It's crazy. It seems like they don't have a cell deep enough in the ground to put this. I can't say those words on the air, but yeah, there's a special place in Hades for Larry Nassar, no doubt about it. But Teddy, I'm just glad he's getting an opportunity to actually be a starter as he should. Just like the situation with Tyron Taylor down there in Houston. Now, granted, he just placeholding the job. Let's be honest. Either Watson's going to come back, or they basically going to suck so bad that whoever is the number one pitcher quarterback, that is that. I mean, because bottom line is the team that will have the worst record in the league is probably going to be Jacksonville. Based on what I saw, it's going to be an extremely long season for that quarterback and that team. Because, the talking heads were talking about that this morning, saying that it's already chumming the water down there, and there's problems down there on the plantation because the head coach, he's trying to run that team like a college team, and the pro players ain't having it.
Oh, they ain't having that, man.
Because, see, that's the problem why I think a lot of college coaches don't do well in the NFL. The power structure is different. When you are the college coach, you have a cachet over people that you will not have in the NFL. The players' union is very strong. You can't just treat these people any type of way. It ain't going down like that. In college, you basically are the God maker. Oh, you don't want to act right? You ain't trying to go to class? We can let you go. We can take your scholarship. We can do all that. There is none of that in the NFL. You can't just say like, okay, I don't like Trevor Lawrence's attitude. He don't read defenses well, what have you. I'm ready to cut that guy. The owner will come and be like, didn't we just do this and this to make him the number one pick? He's not going anywhere. If anything, you gonna have to go. So yeah, that is part of what's going on there with one Urban Meyer. Not to mention the fact that pretty much any major job that comes up, his name is going to come up. Even if
USC.
My Wolverines don't handle the business. Now, it will be a shame before God if we end up hiring somebody that actually coached the team down south to be a Michigan man. That would be the ultimate disrespect. But I could see it.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. No hesitation. If they, man, you know, if they got a chance, or if Urban be like, you know, this year was a year where, like you said, he had a lot of turmoil with the players, and you know they wasn't vibing with him, and you see it a lot, man, where the head coach would come in like it's a college team and try to do it like college, and grown men in the locker room like, hell no, we not going for that. And then he like, well, you know what? I feel like I'm out of place in the pros and go back to the collegiate level. I can see that.
Right. And that was so crazy. Remember a few years ago, when Urban was the coach over there for the punk ass. The crazy
Yeah.
of all, the fact that him and Jim Harbaugh were born at the same hospital on the same day, 1 year apart. They're 2 minutes apart. Ain't that crazy? In a little town called Toledo, Ohio. How crazy is that? And yeah, you may be very much right about that, H2, because we are not getting the blue chippers that we used to in the past.
Not the good
Basketball team is, baseball team is, football team not so much.
So much.
Remember, hell, we even the national champions at the moment in women's gymnastics, so even they getting some blue chippers. But yeah, something not quite right on campus when it comes to football team. And like I said, don't even let this week be a thought in it. Yeah, we'll probably be 3-0. We already back in the top 25. Yeah, that'll probably put us in the top 20, but there's still a lot we don't know about this squad here in Michigan.
Not at all. They too shaky for me.
They play Wisconsin a couple weeks later.
Yeah, that's going to be the testing ground, man, because it seems like Wisconsin always have a good, disciplined, well-coached team on both sides of the ball. So that's a measuring stick for us when we play Wisconsin.
Right, and I'm really, in terms of college games this week, I really want to see what Michigan State does with Miami, because I think we're going to find out Michigan State is ready to be better, or Miami ain't quite as good as we thought they were.
Yeah. Because I still think they shouldn't have won that last game, but it is what it is.
Indeed. Yeah, basically at this point, I see Mr. King, when they go to the combines, they're going to be like, yeah, you got a minute? Take off that QB jersey and put on this running back jersey and run some of these drills right quick. Yeah, okay, now go over here to this wide receiver thing and put that. Yeah, you already see what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, his might not be at quarterback. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's starting to get that Denard Robinson feel to him. That's all I'm saying. Yep, but yeah, folks, it's almost that time. We done got it in pretty good this week, Hugh.
Yeah, it was nonstop, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in college too, like the games we announced and some of these NFL games, man. It's going to be definitely. It's always a good week for football, and then it's getting to the point where it's boiling down to. I was even seeing on TV and even think about it, like, damn, we're getting closer to October, man, where the baseball about to start to get into the playoffs, man. So yeah, this is a really good time for sports fans.
Right. I must admit, though, Hugh, it wouldn't be the show if we didn't do two things that we normally do when both of us do the show.
What's up, E?
First of all, we got to bring our extra co-host in for a second. What's going on, fellas? We got to get it done. Very true, little Bernie. Handle y'all business in Congress.
Thanks, H2. Appreciate you.
That damn hurt. Hugh perked up when it's didn't he though? Didn't he though? He raised up in his chair and everything. Look at the smile on his face now. He done got it in. It's like he got a good one off. Like, yeah, I see. That's a little inside joke, y'all. The other thing, Hugh, we got to do, because amazingly, Pride didn't go there this week. You ain't talking no wrestling this week, Pride? No wrestling reference of any kind.
Oh, yeah, you know, Pride kind of quiet right now because all his homeboys coming over to the evil new empire AEW. So I don't think he really had too much to talk about. We had him at his first match tonight, so he's solid.
Yeah, H2, you done put 2 and 2 together. But no, I do got one discussion real quick as far as WWE go. Last week on SmackDown, it's announced that of course Roman Reigns is facing Ben Balor, but no, it won't be Ben Balor. Now it will be his alter ego, the Demon. How many times WWE are you gonna go to this well? Okay, sometimes y'all forget that we ain't this stupid. We understand it's all kind of cosplay to some degree and all of that. That wrestling ain't like 100% really real. But when y'all go to the land of make believe on us, like y'all like to do every so often, when we have the whole Bray Wyatt, Spooky Man, and the Boogeyman, and the Undertaker, and the mystical powers from within, and his brother Kane, and just popping up out of nowhere and coming through. Now we got the Demon with Vin Balor. Come on, man. Yeah, there go another one. Gold Dust. I mean, sometimes we take it a little too far, okay? You trust that our years of make believe and Space Ghosts and Super Friends and stuff come into play when it comes to some of these WWE storylines.
They need to wake up, man, because I know Mick Foley and Booker T was talking, because at first I think people were getting pissed off and was trying to downplay when Mick Foley was saying, like, y'all really need to wake up, man, because AEW starting to give y'all a challenge. And now you're looking at it and you're seeing, man, that AEW got some really good product out there, man. They're going to have to start getting their A game over there, because if they don't get their A game over there in WWE, man, they're going to be in the dust.
These storylines old as dirt. Yes, they are. They just retread. As far as this goes, Cousin Alvin, no, we don't normally talk about that type of stuff on the sports show. However, I am willing to talk about it on my other podcast, which is Get Off My Lawn Live. So if you want to hit me up about that and perhaps be a guest on the show to discuss cryptocurrency, something I very much would like to discuss on the show, I will give you our Nighthawk Network email address. That would be
like to tune in and that.
Right here, nighthNetwork313@gmail.com. So Cousin Alma or anybody else, if you have some things you want to have us discuss on the show, if you'd like to be a guest on either one of these podcasts that I do, or perhaps one of the other podcasts in the Nighthawk Network, which of course includes such shows as Stan Mason's Behind the Blue Curtain, the Girl Stop Podcast with Lena Miller and Letitia Williams Howard. Pastor Love Presents, maybe not a guest host on that. He does that himself. No Weapon Formed Against Us with my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey. Shout out to you, cuz. Or, of course, Hey Bitches with host Helena Hologram. Then, by all means, get in contact with us at the Nighthawk313@gmail.com. And let's see what we could do. We are always looking for that. Are we doing late night tomorrow? In other words, are we doing the After Dark edition? Not tomorrow, H2, but I do want to do it next week. So for those of you who have been waiting for us to do the Look, see, it's a certain cachet that comes when we do the after dark edition. Note the
Show.
now you already know you are invited to be a guest host as always, Mr. Lee. Some of
Oh
the
yeah,
topics I have
you are doing it.
some of the topics I got on deck, you definitely gonna want to talk about, bro.
For sure.
We are definitely gonna do the after dark edition next week, y'all. Worry not. I can tell you guys one of the topics next week for the after dark edition, which we will do on Thursday about 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. is going to be when you get the late night call, is sex automatically assumed? That is one of the topics. When you get that late night call, is sex automatically assumed? And the other topic, do you stay with your partner if they're good at one thing sexually, but not the other? Or do they have to be good at all? So yeah, those are two of the topics we will talk about on the After Dark edition. Look at it. I'm here for it. Hell yeah. And like I said, I know some of y'all very much enjoyed the After Dark edition in terms of our part of the Night Hall Network. On a good week, y'all tune into that before you tune into either one of my other little shows. Y'all like when we talk about the adult stuff. Some of y'all do nasty like that. Y'all do nasty. Disgusting. I love y'all so much. But anyway, but at any rate, y'all, it's time for us to get on up out of here. We thank you, as always, for tuning in. Thank you to Tamer and Laura Smith, Aaron and Angel Baby. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We appreciate you. That's you, just nasty.
I'm a good person.
You is a good person, but him a damn freak. Don't let him fool you. Don't let the big face fool you. Then. Yeah, we done had some very interesting conversations over the years about.
Oh yeah, we always clown on that show, man.
For sure. But anyway, yeah, y'all definitely tune in for that. Actually gonna reach out to a young lady that came on the show in the past to see if she wants to be part of that conversation as well. That's really gonna make it interesting. But anyway, that being said, folks, we about to get up out of here. I gotta go to work, okay? 7 in the morning, got to be up, ready to get it in.
Yes, well, sir.
Free. Whatever. You nasty too. You nasty too. Well, maybe not so much you H2, but Derek, him real nasty. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Anyway, y'all, we up out of here. Before we go, of course, we gotta have my man Hugh do his thing. Do your thug thizzle, sir.
Y'all already know what to do. If y'all don't know by now, man, y'all slipping, man. Hit me up on that Pure to the Game website, man. Try to keep that mug fresh every time, man. Put all the good news on there for y'all. Whatever sports fix you need, I usually try to put all the good updates and trends on there. So whenever you get a chance, head over to that page, man, and click that like button. Appreciate you in advance.
Keep in mind, that's definitely helpful for you fantasy football people, because you is usually very abreast of who is out for weeks, out for the season. He has a lot of that information on the page. That definitely will help you in terms of picking your team for next week. I will give a quick hint. Next week, y'all, look at your running back situation, okay? I think a lot of teams are going to be running the ball a lot more this year. That appears to be the trend.
Hold up another week on Odell, man, because Odell ain't playing this week. They already said they're going to set him out.
Also, if you're looking for a tight end, TJ Hawkinson for the Lions, you might want to pick that dude up. He down there one of the only people that can actually catch the ball on the Lions right now. So he's going to get a lot of targets. So, yeah, you might want to do that. I need my U.S. curling fix.
Oh, man, who you telling?
In the show, Hugh. In the show. In the show.
Take my ass to sleep. I am sleepy.
Yeah. Hugh gone, so am I. We out, y'all. Y'all tripping. Your curling fix. You supposed to be my friend, H2. It's messed up. See y'all next week. Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk Network presentation.